and welcome back to another episode of The Talk, brought to you by Time Out UAE Kids. I'm Kelly Johnston. Please do like and share our videos. The series episodes come out every Wednesday, so keep an eye out for them and subscribe to our channel in order to get alerts when the new episode is out. We'd also love to hear from you, so if you've got any topics you'd like to see covered, or if you have any burning questions for any of our experts, let us know in the comment box below. So today we're talking all things fitness. Are your children getting enough? Let's find out. So we're here again with another episode of The Talk. Today we've got Megan Thomas from My Sports Academy, and she's a sports coach. And we've got Kirsty McPherson, who is co-founder of Phoenix Rising, which offers yoga and Pilates for adults, children, and even dogs. Is that right, Kirsty?
Yeah, it is. Although I always say I teach the humans, not the dogs. You just involve your dogs in the Pilates.
Just to make that point clear, it's very important. So you guys have obviously, as extracurricular providers, you were sort of the first in line, if you like, to be sort of closed down. So you've been sort of at home and without access to your clients and that sort of stuff since when? It was like at the beginning of March, was it? It's quite a long time. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. It's been interesting. We obviously can't access swimming pools and things like that, so we've had to think outside the box to kind of give parents other ideas of how they can keep the kids fit, really, because they don't want to stop and lose all the hard work they put in throughout the last year.
No, and you must be missing the children as well, I guess.
Oh yeah, missing just all that contact, and you forget how often you see some of the children, because I think some of them we see 3 or 4 times a week, and to now to go not seeing them for 3 or 4 months is very weird.
And what about you, Kirsty? Missing everybody? Have you adapted?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for us, it kind of was a bit of a phased approach because, all our after-school activities were cancelled first for our children's yoga program in schools. But at that point, I think we had another week of still connecting with our clients because we teach private Pilates and yoga and group classes. So kind of was a phased approach. Not having that social interaction with the children has been hard. But it has been a period of just adapting and changing as best we can and kind of repositioning our offering. So we have put some children's yoga classes online. We started doing lots of free classes first of all, just purely to connect with the children and our clients again. But what was really, really difficult is we could obviously put a class out there and we knew that people were doing it, so we were doing them as Insta Live classes, free classes that people could just log into and join from Instagram easily. But they could see us, but we couldn't see them. So when we were doing like our little sharing circles at the beginning, or the chanting of the Om, or just even the animal noises in our sun salutations, I was the one making all these noises, but I couldn't hear the children doing it back. So we're doing Zoom classes now. So we still have that interaction. We can see them, they can see each other in a small group setting. So it's just been about adapting and trying to keep up with everything. But yeah, definitely missing them and missing kind of doing a sharing circle where we hold hands as well. But obviously that's not a safe thing to do at the moment.
I think the adapting is important, but it's obviously quite a hurdle for a lot of people to get over the technology side of things. That can be quite daunting. So how have you coped, Megan, with them? Because I know that My Sports are offering some online classes as well. How are you doing that?
Yeah, so we've done similar with, we have an Insta Live 3 times a week where anybody can just join in and do a land training session. And then we've offered out My Coach sessions, so people can do land training. They can just have talks through race preparation, or like netball and football. If it's been tough to do it through Zoom, but it does mean that we can see what the children are doing and give them feedback. So yeah, we've offered those kind of things like one-to-one through Zoom. But yeah, the main thing's just been keeping in contact with parents. I've had videos of swimmers sent to me so that I can feed back on their swimming, and just they've been practicing themselves at home. And yeah, it's just been, it's thinking outside the box and trying to give people things they can do to keep them moving, really.
Yeah, I think a lot of parents are concerned about how much screen time their children are having, obviously with the home learning, and then it's quite easy, especially as a working parent, to let your child get on the iPad because that's them quiet for the afternoon, so you can sort of get on with other things. But it's very important, isn't it, for them to keep active. Kirsty, what are the benefits of children keeping active?
Well, it's just a really nice self-awareness activity, is that they, away from a screen, they can just learn, you know, how their body feels when their heart rate increases, for example. They can learn how to slow down their breath, slow down their movement. So I think that the self-awareness point of it is just really so important. And that's obviously one of the areas that we focus on the children's yoga. But just also if they're doing some more higher energy activities, just even a little run around the garden or a bike ride, now that we can go outdoors, can just give a whole boost of energy and set them up for the next task. Breaking up the home learning and just setting themselves up for the next task is just so important as well. But obviously energy levels, keeping fit, making sure those muscles are still working, stretching open the hips with a lot of sitting, a lot of holding devices or just rounding forward. There's got to be a lot of chest opening and opening up of the hips and keeping the muscles long so that they don't start contracting. Yeah, keep moving, keep breathing, keep stretching.
And I presume there must be a mental side to it as well, Megan. Is there, like, their sort of mental health is really quite affected by not being so active?
Yeah, I mean, if you're stuck inside all the time on a screen, you're obviously not releasing all those endorphins that you would usually when you're running, when you're swimming, when you're playing a game. And just to like have fun as well, like as much as playing computer games might be fun, it's not actively fun. So playing a game of football outside with your pet, with your siblings or your dad, it's getting them just to not think about their surroundings and their awareness, as you said, Kirsty, of actually how their body's feeling. And it just releases those happy endorphins that will have an add-on effect later on as well in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of children out there. So my 11-year-old is one of those who is very fit. I mean, he does so much sport, and while he's trying at home, it's definitely wound down. So his fitness levels going back, I'm a little bit worried about that, and I'm sure that there are other parents who are. Is there something, should he be doing stuff every day? How much exercise should he be doing? And sort of, probably this is more older kids, I'm guessing, because the younger ones, they tend to be a little bit, they run around a bit more anyway. But for the older kids who sort of, their fitness levels were really high, what should they be doing on a daily basis? Sort of how much exercise, Megan, do you reckon?
I mean, there's lots of things where they say 5 times 30 minutes. So 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week will keep you nicely active and give you that time away from the screens. But it doesn't need to be every day. I mean, I think we average out we suggest 3 times a week, just so that they've got time in between, but maybe that 3 times a week would be more focused. So it could be a specific workout, it could be going for a run, it could be just going for a walk, depending on, or a cycle. But yeah, if you can get moving for 30 minutes a day, then that's obviously going to keep a good level of fitness up.
And Kirsty, you've got a little girl at home. She's 4.
Yeah.
So does she join in your classes, and how are you keeping her active? Are you doing the Joe Wicks PE lessons?
Yeah, we've been doing those as well. Yeah, and bless her, she has been involved in all of my yoga classes so far. She had a week off last week. So we started with 1 Insta Live kids yoga class a week, and now we've got 2 Zoom classes involved in there. So she doesn't join the Zoom classes, but she's always in the Insta Live ones as well. So I think she feels like she's got an important role. When I had her, we always had these lovely illusions that we'd be doing mummy baby yoga, mummy daughter yoga, and we went through a period of time where she wanted to take over and be the teacher. So we kind of didn't do yoga together for a while when we were in a group class, but I was a bit worried about that when we were doing them live on screens. But she's been so great, and just I think she looks forward to it at the end of each week. It's on a Thursday that she's joining in, and she can know that some of her friends and some of her fellow yogis are there doing yoga with her. So that's her kind of main thing to look forward to. But to be honest, in the day, we just try and do little bit. So I think you kind of have to lower your expectations a little bit as well, that we maybe won't do a big, as a mum, but also for her, you won't do a big, 40-minute or 45-minute session, even just a 10-minute of We play hot potato with a balloon, just kind of running around the garden, keeping the balloon off the floor, just doing the Joe Wicks, just doing some just dance exercises, the Zumba online. But then if you wanted to get away from the screen, she's making up her own dance routines as well. So just trying to think what you can do with the resources that are there on a screen, but then also using the imagination and seeing what you can do away from the screen as well, and keeping a ball up on a tennis racket as well. So yeah, lots of little things that might just be 10-15 minutes of activity, getting the heart rate going, getting her out of breath a little bit, and then, you know, back to it, whatever else you might be doing.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that's quite key, is that structured exercise, probably for the younger ones, is quite difficult to implement. For the older ones, probably a little bit more easier. They're happy to do sort of the HIIT exercises, and they do these time lapse things. I think, like, I know my son does time lapses when he does his HIIT exercises and stuff. But for little ones, it is probably more about creativity and imagination. And Megan, what sort of games would you suggest for sort of younger ones to play at home? I guess you do summer camps all the time, so you're probably doing these kind of things.
I think it's, as you said, it's using the imagination and just trying to get them in different areas and different spaces. So whatever you can work with, you can make an obstacle course for them. I've out of absolutely anything, your sofas, your chairs, your beds. If you can't get outside, if you're outside, you can have them doing things on the ground, jumping up, jumping over things. Make up a mini Olympics. So give them different sports throughout the day. Or maybe each day could be different. You could use an Olympics over a whole week if you wanted to. Just things like that. And even as just kicking a ball against a wall, throwing a netball against the wall, throwing, catching, running, jumping. That's what we focus on for the younger children anyway. So if you can make it into a fun game related to their favourite cartoons or TV programmes, yeah, it's just making them not think it's exercise.
Yeah. I think, again, mine have struggled with getting to bed on time. Our bedtime seems to have got a bit later, probably because they're not doing as much exercise as they should be. How are you two keeping, obviously you're very fit people, is what you do for a living. How are you keeping sane? What are you doing personally, Kirsty, to sort of, you've got your former Pilates.
Yeah, so I'm trying as much as possible. I think it's quite important to try and do something in the morning, ideally first thing, but I know that's not always possible with a family. And for me personally, I also have some Zoom private clients that I'm teaching first thing. So it kind of gets knocked down throughout the day, but kind of find if I leave it till the afternoon or the evening, just gets knocked off the list. So just trying to do something active, ideally first thing or at some point in the morning, ideally in the garden. I know it's getting hotter now, but just getting outdoors first thing in the morning as well is just so important. And again, I've kind of had to lower my expectations. So when she was at school, I could maybe jump on the reformer and do an hour workout or 45 minutes even. But if I get a 20-minute, 25-minute bit of time on my mat, then that's really important. And just mixing it up as well. I think it's nice to just keep changing, because if you are at home, either in an apartment or if you have a garden, but you're not really going anywhere, it's nice to keep the variety somehow. If you can't go to different places or different classes or go to the beach or go to parks or whatever it might be, just try and change what you're doing a little bit. So it might be a bit of yoga, a bit of Pilates, a bit of boxing, stress relief out with just with a bit of shadow boxing, or if you've got pads, doing some pad boxing. There's some Zumba, getting some dance out there. So again, like Megan said, getting the endorphins going, and you know, there's enough anxiety kind of kicking around, whether that's kind of quite deep rooted or just a flutter of anxiety, just doing something that will just get your heart rate up, get your endorphins going, and just keep mixing it up. And there are, I mean, in one way, we're so lucky at the moment because there's so many people out there giving great classes and opportunities to try new things that you might not have done before. So, you know, like Zumba, and, you know, no one's really, you know, giving an opinion on your rhythm or your ability to coordinate. So, and you know, I've really enjoyed doing boxing. I've done boxing in the past on bag boxing, but there's been some great online Instagram videos and YouTube videos for shadow boxing. So just find something that, you know, will just keep you active for 20-25 minutes, maybe not even that long. Just try and do something that will get you active as soon as possible in the day.
And I think like with reluctant home learners, there's also children who are a bit more reluctant to do anything apart from lie on a sofa or, I say, be on their iPads. Any encouraging way that parents can sort of, is it like, join mum and dad and we'll do it as a family, or Megan, how can we make sure that our children are actually doing something and it's not a battle or a chore for parents? How can we make it fun?
What, the exercising or?
Yeah, just how we can get them off everything, how we can encourage them to do it when perhaps they're a little less reluctant, well, they're a little more reluctant to sort of get involved.
Yeah, like quite often, as soon as parents want to get involved, then quite often the children will do it. So I guess it's being open to just saying, let's go kick a ball around, let's go throw a ball. I mean, if you've got a paddling pool in the back garden, you can turn it into a goal. So how many balls can you get in the pool, change the distance, just simple things like that. I think as soon as parents join in, kids are a little bit more forthcoming with it. But yeah, it's that imagination and creativity, and like making an obstacle course and seeing who can get around it fastest. They're not going to know that's exercise, and that it will take maybe 20 minutes to make it, and you're making it together. And then afterwards, you're actually going to race round it, time each other, make it a competition. Most children like competition, especially if it means beating your parents at it. So
or your siblings, yeah.
Or your siblings, yeah. So make it into a fun competition. Maybe even have, I don't know, like sweets are probably the wrong thing, but something they like. Maybe you could have like a dirham pot. So today, if you won, you get a penny in the pot. That kind of thing. See who's got the most by the end of the week. That kind of, yeah.
Absolutely. I think there is a focus obviously on the on sort of getting their tasks on their English, their maths, their science, but I think a lot of parents probably forget that obviously sport is part of the British curriculum, so it's very important. I know some schools are offering PE lessons online and all sorts of things. So
I think it is quite nice that you mentioned to do it as a family, and that competitive spirit that Megan mentioned also kind of kicks in. So even the Joe Wicks PE exercises, we've been trying to do it as a family and do it all together. And those of you with paddling pools as well, so that can be a great activity. Just Maddie's obsessed with us like running around the paddling pool doing whirlpools, and then she has to swim against the whirlpool.
Great resistance.
Yeah, it's really good for the legs as well if you're the adult running around it. And like I mentioned, the hot potato, keeping a balloon up in the air. We've got space hoppers as well, but you could do it on any kind of fit ball, but just bouncing on a space hopper. And there's some great apps that you can get on the TV screen. I know it's back in front of the screen, but you could be on the space hopper, bouncing on that in front of show jumping as if you're horse riding. So it's like you're bouncing around on the space hopper, and also on younger children who've got bikes that still have the stabilizers. You can put trainers under the stabilizer wheels to lift the main wheels up.
I've seen quite a few people do that.
Really good, yeah. And you can get like the Tour de France or something on the screen, or mountains, and it looks like they're actually going through the mountains. So again, it's kind of getting back onto the screen, but you can kind of be creative with the tools you've got at home as well.
When you get parents getting really competitive with the kids with their other half.
Yeah, well, my husband and Maddie have just been doing it side by side on the bikes before. But yeah, I think when there's other people involved, it becomes a bit more exciting to kind of do it.
So key is probably make it fun, be creative, let the little imaginations run wild and join in with them. So thank you so much for joining us on the talk today. Thanks so much for watching. And again, just a little reminder to like, share and subscribe to our channel. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Take care. Bye.